So there was a Zoom update. Let's see if this works. Yep, it worked.
Cool.
Yeah, we're live.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sauce.
So yeah, I titled this one "McPickle is a deal breaker."
Yes, you
I
did.
don't even know why. I'm feeling goofy. I don't know. Like I've been in the doldrums. I've been sleeping a lot. Like I can't seem to stay off the couch. But when I'm up, I'm feeling like I feel funny. Like not like a clown funny. Like I just feel humorous.
All right.
And then sometimes I feel my humorous. Wait, is this?
Yeah.
This is the humorous up here, right?
Sure. I think you're right.
Radius, ulna.
And ulna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. McPickle is a deal breaker. I just found an image on Facebook. Think of a Big Mac and replace the burger patties with pickles. All pickles. I would totally eat that.
That's what she said.
Donna's heckling me in the background. McPickle is a deal breaker. Join us live on YouTube to discuss or discussed, whichever.
All right.
Go. That's that. Bada boom, bada bing.
Getting this out myself.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're taking a minute to do the shares thing because, that's what we do. That is what we do. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all well. I hope you are also feeling humorous because this is gonna be a weird show.
Yeah, probably.
I want to talk about Port Richey a bit this morning because those idiots are at it again. Some of you may recall Port Richey is the town where I live, and I ran for mayor last year. And I told them the things that I had planned to do and told them the things that they should be aware of. And shit's getting real. We got city councilors yelling at each other on the live city council meeting about whether the mayor should be driving his golf cart or utility vehicle on public streets and whether he should be intoxicated while doing so.
It's funny that that's the thing
manager
you need to discuss.
Pressured the police chief to retire and is now himself resigning, effective with 45 days notice per his contract. Although last night they tried to vote to give him 2 weeks like he gave the chief, and that was voted down 3-2. So Port Richey's a big fucking mess. And you could have at least had a funny, charming mess. But instead,
that's exactly it. Would it still be a mess? 100%.
Yeah. But what's the worst thing you're going to get me for is not driving while intoxicated on my golf cart. It would be smoking a doobie in my own apartment, which is decriminalized in our town. So, all right. But I'm poor, so therefore don't have any skin in the game. And am, they needed a communicator, and that's absolutely not what they got.
Yeah.
They also got a communicator who is donated to the two local voting, body members, our state legislator and county commissioner, who've consistently tried to disband our city. That's who got elected mayor in my town.
Is anyone surprised?
No, really? I'm not. But you know what? The 3 or 4 Port Richey discussion groups that I follow, they're surprised.
Oh God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
You know what? And this is,
I mean, I'm a little bitter, but I'm also sitting over here sipping from my mug of smug. Like,
yeah, from your smug mug.
It's none of my business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost, I'm having this sort of recurring, at 45 or however the fuck old I am. Like, I still react in awe and surprise when I find out that all the adults are stupid. Like just and not
how many of them are and how
not
stupid
like,
they are, right?
Right,
there
like not like ones, a little bit stupid, but like just fundamentally not smart.
Yeah,
it's a weird feeling.
Yeah. So yeah, McPickle is a deal breaker. I'm so bummed about that. I thought you'd be all aboard the pickle.
Yeah, no, I think Pickles are effectively a food version of a war crime.
What?
Yeah, I don't like pickles.
You're wrong. Okay, but
I'm open to that. I mean, for you, not for me.
yeah. How do
the
you
whole thing.
not like? You don't like any pickles? Not bread and butters, not sweets, not dills, not kosher dills, not deli half sours, not pickled tomatoes, not hot pickled
Wow, you know a
okra.
lot of pickles.
I do. It's my special gift.
Dave Myers is very sad that he missed the PR mayor talk.
Yeah, Port Richey, all hell is breaking loose again. I'll put a link in the thread here.
Still?
They had quite the conversation last night. Good news, Vince Lupo has decided to retire in 45 days. Bad news, he's going to wait 45 days. So, whatever. I ran on a platform of firing Vince Lupo and the police chief, and
that worked out real well.
Yeah, well, they didn't need me to get that done, but unfortunately, they've elected a mayor who apparently held a court hearing last night during the city council meeting, interrogating Todd McClary, one of the other guys I ran against, who's now on the city council, about this whole thing about the golf cart.
Oh my!
It's just fucking stupid. Apparently, a Port Richey police officer had to warn the mayor earlier this year that the utility vehicle he was driving, it's not a golf cart, was not legal for road use in the city of Port Richey, and he should probably not be driving it while intoxicated. And
stuff you shouldn't have to say, but I mean, 2020.
Yeah, this is a guy who ran on a platform of integrity to replace our mayor who got arrested for firing at a SWAT team, and our other mayor who conspired with that mayor to get even with the police officers who did the work, the investigative work. So, yeah, it's definitely my circus, but those are not my monkeys.
Something monkeys.
Yep. Port Richey is trying to outdo my hometown for sheer bounce to the ounce on shameful leadership, and has been so for at least a decade, like 20 years. This city manager, who's now leaving, was the city manager here before, and he and the mayor, who's now in prison awaiting trial, started a scam charity for medical care for kids in Africa, and used the money to go on big game hunting trips. That's a thing that happened. Then that city manager was fired by the city because they were worried he was corrupt and hiring people who weren't qualified to do jobs. That was a true thing. And then the mayor hired him back. After an exhaustive search of 100 candidates, Vince Lupo ended up in the final 5 candidates. I went to the assistant city manager and said, "Why aren't you in the running for this? Because you're awesome and educated and know what you're doing." She was like, "I know." She was not at all excited about putting her head on the chopping block in that way, which is a damn shame because she's a fine public servant and a well-educated and competent administrator. She keeps our city managers from stepping on their dick all the time, and has done so for a number of years. So anyway, I don't know what happens next, but it won't be me. So I guess I got that going for me. But I wanted to say, though, I really appreciate everybody. There's people in this thread who donated to my campaign, donated their time, their effort, their hard work, their money. And I appreciate that you were all so supportive of me running, but I'm probably not ever going to do that again. It was not fun. And I thought I had a thick skin, but it turns out I don't. So,
I mean, thick adjacent.
See, now everybody's got, you're all wrong. Let's see. There are lots of other pickle comments. Don't forget sweet pickles, sweet and hot pickles, garlic pickles. Publix garlic pickles are delicious. Fight me. That's true. Yep. Golf cart utility vehicle, please.
Yeah. I mean, you sort of get used to it, I guess.
That's a good one. Boxer Cat's hometown mayor embezzled jail food money for his beach house. I remember that story. Yeah, the sheriff, if I remember the story correctly, the sheriff gets to keep anything that they don't spend on inmate food. What could possibly go wrong with a system like that?
Oh, Jesus.
He has a budget for jail food, and if they don't spend the entire budget, he got to keep it. So
just starve them. Everyone eats 10 grains of rice a day, and I get a beach house. Duh.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? I saw a meme this morning I found really interesting. It's this. It's if you're stir crazy, if people who are in isolation are either rebelling and protesting in the street or going stir crazy, maybe you should think more about what life is like for incarcerated people. Maybe you should think more about the quality of their lives and your responsibility for it. I think that's a pretty good take on that issue.
Can confirm.
Yeah. So you know how you're gonna love this one. You know, Trump has been talking about the hashtag transition to greatness in the last few days. He's been rage tweeting about we're now going to hashtag transition to greatness. Okay. He's been using that as a hashtag in his tweets.
That's not going to age well.
This is actually I'm gonna link this, but it's actually worth a screen share, as well. So here's the link. What you should never do is you start using a catchphrase like that without first securing the web domain.
Oh no!
Transition into greatness. One day it's like a miracle; it will disappear.
Wow!
Can you see it? You see it?
Yep. Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what happens when you don't secure a web domain for a thing you keep saying.
Did you see Fauci yesterday too? Was validating what I've been saying for 3 weeks is that the death totals are probably a lot less. Like they're probably underreporting it. Like the actual deaths are going to be a lot higher than than what they are.
You mean despite the kickback the hospitals are getting for listing deaths as COVID?
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, conspiracy theories really make me like viscerally not like people.
Yeah.
Okay, Hillary Clinton, who has been a shining light of every time she tweets, it's like, oh man, we dropped the ball. So it's for this New York Times article, Kushner law side doesn't rule out delaying the 2020 election. And Hillary Clinton just tweeted that out with, I can't believe I have to write this sentence, but the president's son-in-law doesn't get to decide when the election is. I mean, that, you know, but no, we could just delay it, Greg. That's fine. Just delay it by about 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Yeah, we have like, 300 Benghazis a day right now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's more than that. 4 people died in Benghazi.
Oh yeah, we're up at around
like
2,000 deaths a day.
Like 1,000 Benghazis a day right now. A 9/11 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame we can't just shoot brown people to solve this problem.
Yeah, we can't drop bombs on a pandemic
in the Middle East, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fred
that's
says
the thing.
Obamagate is his new one. He doesn't know what it is, but he's sure it's evil. Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. He even retweeted like there was like a video of Trump or Obama reading like mean tweets on one of the late nights or whatever.
Right.
And Trump basically just shared that. It's like Obama was always wrong. I'm like, dude, he was like literally like being funny in this. Like, do you understand what's going on right now? And the answer to that is fundamentally no.
Yeah, no. He understands sarcasm in the same way he understands consent. I'm salty today, man.
I mean, that
I want to punch people right in the face with humor today. That's my
nailed it.
My operating principle. What? Sarcasm and consent? Yeah.
I love that. I
got a whoa out of laugh track.
Yeah, laugh track had exactly the same reaction as me. Just about 17
she's
seconds
on delay,
later.
so
That's
I know
awesome.
I know what she's laughing at. That's pretty cool.
Laugh track, you are the best. Long distance high five.
Yeah. 25th Amendment it'll never happen. If we haven't done it yet, we're not gonna.
Yeah,
why now?
Exactly.
No, we'll just unelect the motherfucker.
Yeah, like the 25th Amendment, like he basically has to be like 5 seconds from being dead of COVID. Then maybe they would do it. Like incapacitated, Yeah.
All right. So I want to link the article that I shared with you yesterday about the Joe Biden article. Did you read it?
No, I did not.
Listen, you should. Like, I am not. Those of you who know me know that I am not a Joe Biden apologist or a huge fan. He was not even my 5th choice in the recent primaries, but he is going to be the presumptive nominee. That's a thing that's going to happen. And this article talks about, and this is something I've been saying for 4 months now, that everybody was posting about, he's not in favor of Medicare for all. He's not in favor of this. He doesn't understand or like UBI. That what's different between one of the startling differences between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, despite the idea that my more progressive, I didn't think anybody could be more progressive than me. My activist left friends think there are no differences. There are, and one of them is that Joe Biden is capable of modifying his view of things and changing his plan to better suit the moment. And I think it's easy to forget how central he was to the relief packages that happened in the 2009 bailout process, and they didn't get nearly as much money for people then as we're going to get now. But this article lines out what he's doing right now to change how he's viewing things, and he's actually like sounding very much like he wants to implement a New Deal size, Franklin Roosevelt size set of policy initiatives in the current situation. He is absolutely engaged every day with medical people, medical experts, contagious disease experts. Ron Klain, who was our Ebola czar in the Obama administration, and a whole bunch of others. It's a long read, but you owe it to yourself. If you're having anxiety about pulling the lever for Joe Biden on your ballot in November, you should read this article. If you're not having any trouble considering that you're going to be voting for Joe Biden, you should read it, because it's a good way to arm yourself for that conversation. Once again, and I get laugh reacts when I post this in a thread. If Joe Biden is elected president, he will have done so on a platform that is the most liberal in the history of the United States presidency. That's a fact. Maybe it's not liberal enough for you, but it is by far the most progressive platform any candidate has ever successfully been nominated on. Much more so than Obama, much more so than Jimmy Carter, certainly much more than Bill Clinton. And that's worth considering, right? We're not going to get everything we want from a Democratic presidential candidate in this election. But he has also said he would like to serve for one term and turn over the keys to younger, more progressive candidates in the future. And in my best case scenario, he picks Stacey Abrams as his running mate, and she's the presumptive nominee in 2024.
Yeah,
or Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, all of that would be pretty good. Yeah, I think because I've seen Rio actually even floated Elizabeth Warren as VP because for all sorts of reasons, most of which are sort of fairly thinly sourced. But you poisoned my mind against that, because you're so right about the fact that she would be so good in the Senate.
I mean,
Elizabeth Warren, right?
Yeah.
And again, would she make an amazing vice president? Absolutely. But then she's still like at the upper age range for being president afterwards. She would still completely crush it. I think there's no question about that. I think out of the three of them, it would probably be Stacey Abrams, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris in that order.
Yeah. But both Warren and Harris, if they end up in the cabinet or as VP, we lose them in the Senate. And
this is the thing, like losing them from the Senate is terrible. Like that's like legitimately bad.
But having Kamala Harris as AG or Elizabeth Warren as head of Treasury, or what would the right cabinet position be if she wasn't the VP?
That's the thing. I don't know that there's any cabinet position where Elizabeth Warren would do more than she could in the Senate, but I'm open to being proven wrong about that.
HHS, Health and Human Services.
No. Because you could find a somebody who was right. Like she could find the person to run it that would run it better than she would. Right.
Housing and Urban Development.
That's the thing. Again, like she's 100,000 times more powerful in the Senate. I think like the argument that Kamala Harris could go into to be AG as opposed to being in the Senate, I'd be way more open to that. Right. Because I think she's sort of specifically designed for that role, and the Department of Justice is going to need a ground up rebuild.
Yep.
Now, granted, like, could you also find somebody else that has those kind of chops where we wouldn't be losing somebody with that kind of institutional knowledge in the Senate? I don't know, right? Like that's the thing. Whereas Stacey Abrams is like, I'm just reinventing freaking how to run elections in the United States. I mean, I suppose I could freaking be VP too, right?
Yeah, voting rights and keeping people from being disenfranchised has been her constant task since she lost the election in Georgia.
Can confirm.
I think she would bring a great deal of excitement to progressive voters.
I agree.
I think they'd be voting for her, not for Biden.
Some of them,
Yeah.
yeah.
With
And
the
I mean,
with
like,
the eye towards her being the presumptive nominee in either 4 or 8 years,
or just that kind of sea change. That and
Yeah.
and I mean, it's historic. It would be the first presidency where the vice president was a female, because again, we've got every chance to actually win. Yeah, it just it would give us that sense of historical perspective that we're not going to get from another old white guy getting the presidency.
right? Yeah, Sherry says another problem with Warren is that if she becomes vice president, her seat goes to a Republican. Massachusetts has a Republican governor.
Yeah, hard no.
Right?
That's the thing. We can't afford to lose anything in the Senate at all.
Right.
We're even if we do get it, it's going to be on razor thin margins.
Dave, the only good thing about Biden is a possible Kamala Harris VP. That's Miss Harris if you're nasty. Nice. That's a nice Janet Jackson reference there. I like it.
Yeah, Fred said, has anyone ever changed the mind of a conspiracy theorist? I need to learn how. It can't be done. The whole point is they're immune to facts. That's not a thing. I wish it was.
Yeah, I think that there's a difference between a hardened conspiracy theorist and someone who has just posted some dumb shit they saw online without really digging into it. When someone when someone is normally aspirated and you go to their page and say, hey, here's a couple of links you might want to read that sort of tell you that what you just posted is not true, they'll go, right, oh yeah, my bad, cool, I don't know,
then you take it down, right?
That's
right. That's not a conspiracy theorist. That's somebody that knee-jerk shared somebody. Like I'm making that distinction. Right?
I've done that. I've done that.
Yeah, me too. No, I totally have. And yeah, if you debunk it, I will remove it because I take personal responsibility of my own personal little slice of platform.
What?
Right? I know. It's
That's
weird.
just crazy talk.
I know.
Yeah. Transition into greatness.
Excuse me. Transition.
Hey, what's the sci-fi book about the moon getting blown up that you keep telling me is one that I should?
Seven Eves.
Seven Eves. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really
Who's the
good.
author?
Shit.
I'm putting together my book list for Joni. Which, by the way, that's something we should talk about. First of all, our friend Jonah Hepsworth and her amazing, lovely wife Tammy own the Paperback Exchange bookstore on Ridge Road here in Port Richey. And they are, first of all, amazing people who have always been very supportive of all my crazy things that I've done. In fact, I did my show from there for over a year, live from their bookstore. But it's more than a bookstore. It's actually sort of a community hub now where, they're very active in a lot of really good progressive causes, including a drag queen story that gives kids the chance to hear stories read by some amazingly talented and wonderful people. And what Joni's been doing is she's closed the store, but she's been there and filling orders online. And once a day or so, she takes out her guitar and goes live and sings a song. And I don't know if anybody knows this besides me. Joan is really talented. She's a super good singer. I mean, really amazingly good singer. And anyway, you should support our local bookstore, and they're open now. There are some restrictions. You probably want to call the shop and make sure they have hours if you're immunocompromised that you can go in by appointment, early or late, so you don't have to worry about getting sick. And that's the right, responsible way to reopen. And I'm really glad that they're going to keep the doors open, because we are losing some local businesses.
Yeah,
I heard that some big chains. First, Sweet Tomatoes closed. No loss for me. Not a place that I hung out. But Chili's may go down.
Really?
Yeah. It's a huge
Steak
shame.
and Shake's closing 54 stores.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Yep. McPickle needs gone. There you go. You have an ally. I would eat a McPickle sandwich, though. I would totally. I don't know. Dave Meyer says it's possible to change their mind in person. I've relegated myself to the fact that you cannot change anyone's mind on social media platforms. I don't even try anymore. That seems like a pretty good take. Boxer Cat, I've done it, Dave, but it was a person I also knew in real life, not just somebody I knew from the internet. Yep. Yeah, good point. Casey Marion makes. Fortunately, cabinet picks would be made post-election, so we'd know what the Senate results are at that point. But they're putting together playbooks now, right? They're putting together binders and lists of who their candidates would be and beginning the vetting process even now to make sure that when they get to the day, there's no surprises or problems with who they would want to pick. So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thundar the Barbarian was about the moon destroying the earth and causing mutations amongst the remaining life. That's probably not what you're talking about, though. It's certainly
It is not. It's Neil Stevenson.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Casey says Steak and Shake is closing all stores permanently. Well, that's a damn shame.
Oh, fuck. Okay. That's a little different.
Yeah.
Damn,
I
Daniel.
could not care less about the loss of Chili's if I sat down and tried. I have an odd Chili's relationship. I actually worked at Chili's here in Port Richey for 2 years. I was employee of the quarter several times, and it's the best chain restaurant I ever worked at. Like, as far as how they treated us, the kitchen and wait staff was remarkable. There were people working at the Port Richey store who had worked for Chili's for 12 and 15 years, even then, like since they were a little tiny outfit, because they took good care of their servers and their cook employees better than most other restaurants do anyway. So I actually really like Chili's. I like the menu. I like the food. You know, like my Terlingua Pride chili burger. It's good stuff. Yeah. Okay. So what's going on with the Supreme Court, Boxer Cat?
Yeah, I mean, they heard all the arguments there, but we're and basically they're still just arguing that Trump is completely and totally above the law. Everyone needs to go fuck themselves, right?
Right.
And no decisions for a week to a few weeks or something like that.
Yeah. Huh. Apparently RBG gave somebody the smackdown yesterday over the stuff of the president's financial filings. And I'm sorry, I'm not more up to date on that story. I was distracted by the McPickle. I'm gonna restart my microphone here. Hang on. You hear me? Corey?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Okay.
It got really weird for a second.
Okay. Yeah. I want to brag on Michelle Mishi Freeman, who's in the thread right now. She ordered me something online. She ordered me a DVD that is chock full of scans of Florida history books. So I can be even more amazing on road trips, Corey. Once I delve into this amazing collection she
and that's the thing. Like you'll know literally, like, yeah, for something.
I'll take things only Greg would know for $500, please.
Yep. See as example all of Florida history.
Yeah.
No, that is very cool. Oh, I do want to thank everyone who's been sending me TED Talks over the last week. I have 77 out of the required 100 on my list now.
Nice.
Have every confidence that we'll be able to get up to 100 since I'm only on day 7 right now. Which has been going really good, actually. Yep. It's like
I was like flattered and gratified to see that you mentioned me in one of your threads about that. I think it was about the Amanda Palmer TED Talk.
Oh yeah, I mean that was your fault.
Yeah, that's cool. And I sent you a link yesterday to the Stacey Abrams one about
yes. 3 things. I can't even believe that I didn't have that one on the list already. So thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Dave Myers, the possible loss of Southwestern egg rolls is the greatest tragedy to happen from COVID-19. Don't let that happen, people.
Perspective is really the thing that we need, and I think that's it right there.
Yeah. Let's see let me scroll back up there. Man, you guys are busy in the comments. Governor Stitt worked in a new provision to add back in vote by mail restrictions, even though the Supreme Court sided with the League of Women Voters. Motherfuckers. Yeah, there's only one side that doesn't want you to vote.
Yep.
There's only one side that wants you to risk your life to vote in November. You know what? If they do away with vote by mail, I will go to my polling place and vote. I will risk my life because I think that's important. I just don't think my mom should have to.
Exactly.
That's bullshit.
Casey Marin just put up at Fred Eater. Listen to your podcast, Wind Scented Stars, like fresh water in the desert. Thank you. That's the one that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Casey, I'm glad you got a chance to.
Hey,
to
we should
like
have
that.
Fred on here. Why have we not had Fred on here in the Zoom chat with us to do a show?
Let's do it. Friday I've got Erethy coming on.
Cool.
But why don't Fred, if you're not busy, why don't you come and join us on Monday?
Monday would be cool. Morning, Dave Eichenberger. Nice to see you today. You came up a lot yesterday in my music list thread of post music by a local artist. There was a lot of Julie Black and Dave Eichenberger, and Dave Myers noticed about an hour in, how the fuck has Corey Cottrell not been put in here under local music? And he linked one of your songs in the thread, so that was cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Deborah Marcotte, Boxer. I listened with Neil Catchall and Conway live streaming while adding their comments. It was really interesting. Neil Catchall is the real deal. He's cool, man. I like listening to that guy.
Sharp as fuck.
He's quiet, but he's super, super well informed and funny and smart. So definitely worth listening to. Dave Myers, trust me, the McPickle can be a big distraction source. How much time I spent browsing dating apps. Yep. That's a thing. That's a thing. Where did that go? Oh, yes, Greg knows a lot of trivia. It's a fact. It's a fact.
So what else is going on?
I don't know. I'm just kind of catching up on the comments here.
Yeah, right.
There's widely expressed shock that Dave Myers is single. It's also shocking to me. I don't know what's wrong with you people.
Excuse me. Yep.
I don't own a camera. Perhaps I can find one. No webcam on your laptop or your phone. Your phone. If your phone shoots video, you could join us in the Zoom chat.
All of that is true.
You would probably need to prop up your phone so you don't have to hold it the whole time. But we would totally love to have you on.
Right. Sue asked for the link to Fred's show. If you just go to any podcast app and search for Fred's Front Porch, it'll come up.
Yeah, let me do it right now. Oh, hey, I want to talk about. I want to talk for a second about a podcast that I discovered yesterday.
Go on.
That I've listened to. Let's see. Here it is on Anchor. But again, if you go to whatever podcast app you use and search for it, you'll find it. I found it on Google Podcasts. That's what I've been using. Anyway, I discovered one yesterday called Wind of Change. And it's produced by funded by the guys from Pod Save America, right? The John Lovett, John Favreau team. But basically, this guy is an author and a columnist, a journalist. And about 10 years ago, a friend of his mentioned just in passing one day that he heard a rumor that the song "Winds of Change" by the Scorpions, remember the one with the whistling about the falling of the Berlin Wall? You know the song I'm talking about? It's a massive hit everywhere in the world. Well, there's a line of reasoning that says that song may have been written by the CIA to sort of help break down the Soviet Union. And this podcast is about that story, but it ties in a whole bunch of other times when the CIA has actually used artists and musicians to further American causes, including Nina Simone without her knowledge, including Louis Armstrong, of all people. So it's a really great deep dive into the CIA as a cultural weapon, how they weaponized culture to further American values. And as someone whose dad worked for a company that was doing USAID work in Africa in the early 70s for a company that was like the Halliburton of the 60s and 70s, it absolutely rings true to me. It's really fantastic. It's called Wind of Change, and it is only on Spotify right now. So you have to have Spotify, which you can get for free, to listen to this podcast, Wind of Change. But it's phenomenally good, and it brought to mind the movie Argo, the Ben Affleck movie from a couple of years ago about the guy that extracted the 6 house guests that the Canadian ambassador had staying in his basement in Iran. And anyway, so we watched that movie last night just because it mentioned it in the podcast. Yeah, if you don't think the CIA has done these things, they absolutely have. And one of the guys that's featured in the movie, I'd forgotten the story, that was central to the Argo story, was a Hollywood costume maker named John Chambers, who I also know of because of his not his interest, but everybody always, when somebody says, well, it's a suit some guy in Hollywood made about Bigfoot, they would go to John Chambers, and he would have to say, no, it's not something I did, and I would know who did it if somebody in Hollywood did it. There's only about 6 of us. So he had to constantly deny throughout his life that he had made the suit from the Patterson-Gimlin film. So John Chambers, he made all the costumes in Planet of the Apes, for instance. That's the level of work he did.
Fair enough.
And they used him in the CIA operation because he was a legitimate movie guy, and he put them in touch with the producers, and they bought a script. They did the whole thing to get those people out of Iran. So anyway, Wind of Change is really cool. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
It should be like Dave was asking if it was on iTunes, Fred's podcast. I'm sure it is. Because when you run from Anchor, it automatically uploads them if you set it to do that. It goes to Spotify and iTunes and Google and all that shit. So
yeah, when I Google searched it, I came up with it on Listen Notes, Apple Podcasts, FredEater.com, Spotify. The Mindwave on Podbean had him on for a session, so it won't be hard to find if you just my Google search terms were Fred Eater Podcast, and he came right up, so shouldn't have any problem finding it. Gosh. Front Porch on Spotify too. There you go. Holly Brown says the CIA created peanut butter and jelly. What? I want to know more. I would like to hear the rest of that story.
It's an interesting story.
Yeah. Well, part of my supposition about who my dad was working for, my dad is no longer with us, and I would love to ask him these questions. Lived in Africa was Botswana. It's the desert where the Kalahari Desert is, not to be confused with the Calamari Desert from Mario Kart. But essentially, we lived in a country that was surrounded by other countries that were having civil wars and huge problems. And USAID is the State Department's set of projects where they would go to the UN contingent from a country like Botswana and say, look, we want to build hundreds of miles of roads and schools and water systems in your country in exchange for your vote on human rights. Basically, the idea was to use our power of the purse to keep countries from falling under the sway of the Soviet Union or the Cubans, and all over Africa. Communist insurgency groups from China, from Cuba, from Russia were active. And so these companies that bid on these contracts were very much like Halliburton. They were big infrastructure development companies. So where we lived, the British government was building a dam across a dry riverbed, and the Germans were building a copper mine in the desert. And my dad's company built the pipeline that connected the water to the copper mine. And on its way there, coincidentally, like 60 or 70 little villages that had never had running water or even standing water would have to walk for miles to get water systems put into their towns. And I don't think my dad was a spy, but I think it's entirely possible that somebody from CIA was implanted in the group of men and women who worked for the company in Botswana as they were in South Africa. The reason this is a compelling idea is because if you go to search the company Interpace right now, what you'll find is you'll find some links to a China pattern, because one of the things they did was build ceramic. They had ceramic kilns. A couple of instances of this in the Walt Disney World and the Contemporary Hotel, the huge murals of the canyons that run up the columns that hold up the interior of the Contemporary Hotel. Those are actually fired by Interpace. They were designed by an artist and made by Interpace because they were the only commercial kilns big enough to cook that many tiles at a time. But anyway, Interpace patented a type of pipe called lock joint pipe that was ceramic jacketed steel pipe, because water evaporates. The more miles you run it through a desert or a hot environment, the more water you lose to just seepage and it evaporating out of the hot pipes. So jacketing them with concrete was a way to keep that water in. And if you worked for a company like, say, Corning Glass or General Electric in a foreign country in the 60s and 70s, like say you worked for Corning Glass in Hong Kong, okay, your kids went to schools, boarding schools, you lived in a small like enclave community, and there's somewhere on social media, there's a there's likely a group where like an alumni group of people that work for that company, and you can go and find 50 or 60 people that lived in Hong Kong the same time as you did. You can keep up with their families. There is absolutely no such thing about Interpace. There is no record of them having existed other than court documents and lawsuits when their pipelines failed later. So it's weird to me that this company just sort of disappeared from the face of the earth, and we don't have any way to contact any of the people that we lived and worked with in Botswana. It's curious to me, and I wonder if that might be because they were basically a CIA front during their years. I think it's possible.
So, yeah. I just saw something Casey shared on the Facebook 2 days ago. Trump sent a tweet every 7.5 minutes for 16 hours. 16 hours. Today, his attorneys are arguing that releasing his financial documents from when he was a private citizen would be too distracting for him to do his job.
Yeah.
Sigh.
Dust motes are too distracting for him to do this job.
Yeah. Obama being alive and breathing oxygen.
Yeah.
So, I might have to cut this short, guys.
Oh,
I think I need to go ice my shit. Yeah, it's starting to flare up.
All right, man. Well, let's see. So I think what? There's a headless woman. Somebody just sent me a screenshot. Andy Beals just sent me a screenshot. There's a headless woman in frilly shorts behind and facing away from you. And it's a screenshot of me. I can't see it.
What?
Andy is seeing a ghost in the image behind me. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
That happened.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yep. All right, guys. Yeah, let's wrap it up. Let Corey go ice his back and take care of himself. You said we have a guest on Friday?
Yeah, Erethy's gonna come in and chat with us.
I can't remember who that is.
You will once she shows up.
Well, so much for show prep.
Yep. Yeah, no show prep required. She's the person who something I need to actually work on today is like we talked about the 100 days thing, and she's like a corporate sort of coach kind of deal. We talked about doing like celebrating the wins every week, and it simply put, the number of shows we do together, and just all the pieces of content that get produced or whatever. I've never actually done that, right? Like list out, okay, well, what did I actually accomplish this week as far as trying to shore up some more brain space instead of just having the constant slide into abject depression.
Oh, that may be what Andy is seeing. He's seeing the knitted Sasquatch that Jen Rakita made for me. Keeping it real sign there. That may be what he was seeing. That's entirely possible. Sorry about the glare. The other good news is my friend Mishi actually found a large section of Kelly green flannel cloth fabric, which means I can make a green screen. And I think I'm going to move my desk so that I can have backgrounds and have them look really sharp. I'm looking forward to that. That's exciting. Yeah.
Celebrating the wins. We will be celebrating nothing that spreads COVID-19. Yeah. But I am happy that even as a joke, I managed to offend somebody on YouTube today. Because if you're not doing that, you're not really
mission
there.
Accomplished.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a tropical disturbance in the Atlantic right now that may become a tropical storm. It's going to move away from us. It's not a big deal. It's much closer to you than me. So
I was going to say, like, move away from.
Yeah, it's over the Bahamas and moving. It's going to move north and eastward, so away from most of us. Unless you live in Bermuda, probably not an issue. So cool. There's that.
I don't live in Bermuda.
Yep, I got it. Yeah, Dave, we got that. It's got to be Kelly Green. Kelly Green. Yep, I'm on it. That's why it was exciting to find out she had just such a piece of cloth fabric laying around. Because I'd hate to have to paint that wall, that corner Kelly Green. That would be atrocious.
Right.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're gonna wrap this up and go look up stuff about the reality of Sasquatch.
Okay.
Right, Corey?
No,
Say it with
it's
me.
not happening.
Sasquatch is real.
Sasquatch